TTT THROWDOWN!
On this week's Throwdown, we have Cucumber Chris demo the workout.
We've got rowing and burpees. We release these workouts every Thursday at 1 p.m. on YouTube. My name is Travis.
Yo, Chili Willy, how spicy is this workout? Well, it's gonna be a spicy one!
This week's Throwdown is a 12-minute AMRAP of 16 cows on the rower, 12 for the girls, and 8 lateral burpees over the rower. Go ahead, Brandon.
For movement standards, a warm-up, and scaling options, check the description down below and don't watch Travis.
This week's demo is Chris Ensign. He's a new athlete on site. We're still learning about him, but he's super fit, and apparently he's a snake charmer.
Let's see it!
Here we go.
All right, let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. All right,
we're
so
off.
Keep in mind, the men are doing 16 cows. The ladies will have 12 cows on the rower, but everyone will do 8 burpees over the erg. So Chris said he's going to start out at 1,200 cows per hour and then pick up. And I think that was probably around the pace that he held. I try to kind of go over there and check out his pace. I think he got up to 1,350 or maybe 1,400. And I think that's a good strategy for most people to start.
Yeah, I agree. I think for myself personally, I'd probably try to go a little bit higher.
I was
just
gonna say,
because
I
I
bet
feel like
Travis
this is my
would start at 2,000.
yeah, like this is my jam. Any sort of row workout. So I think for me, I'd probably where he's trying to pick up the pace on the burpees. I think I would try to maintain a slower cadence on the burpees, but a faster cadence on the row, because that's something I feel like even when I'm really fatigued, I can kind of breathe and recover.
Ooh, I'm going to pick a big execution error right now. Sorry, Chris. He unstrapped his feet to get out of the rower. I think in a workout like this, and this is something just in training the athletes should do, if you're doing mixed work with a lot of transitions, you need to learn to row with looser straps.
Yeah.
So you can just
yeah, you should
slide
never
in
have
and
to
out.
adjust those.
Yeah.
I agree 100%, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves as well.
Yeah.
He
But
didn't adjust them there.
Yeah,
there.
so maybe it was just a one-time.
I think when people start a workout, they get super excited and they just strap in and they realize it. But that's something that I agree 100% you need to practice. Going back to Travis's point, I do think for elite level males, you need to start faster on the row. The separation in this workout still comes on the row, even though the burpees can be daunting. If you do 10 rounds, it's 80 burpees. But the reality is that you can gain or lose much more time if you go too slow or too fast on the row as compared to the burpees. Like, as long as you have good footwork on the burpees, I think you can get over and keep within a second or two of someone that's going fast.
His exit on the seat, which we'll see again soon, is very good, where he kind of just like rolls off to the side. Because
Looks like he
is
falls down.
the standard that you have to face away from the front of the rower.
Here comes.
Ta-da. Yeah, this is one of the things that we'll talk about with the execution tips and the whiteboard, but I do think that transitions matter in a workout. Like, think about this being an open workout where you have 150,000 people on the leaderboard. Everyone would be so condensed at the top end and then that middle range. And so having those fast transitions makes all the difference.
Yeah, I think for me, it was like the year we had the row wall ball, whatever, all those rounds. It was the same thing of when we went back and watched the video, there was multiple times you had the little half pull at the end to like let it tick over to 15 cows, or you're like 14 thinking it will hit to 15 and you miss it. And then you sit there and you have to do 2 more baby pulls. Those little mistakes, just row all the way through till you hit the number. I think those are the big differences when you're looking at seconds like that of like, if there's 150,000 people doing it, the difference in one extra pull over those course of the 12 minutes is a lot.
That's such a good point, because I actually saw people, and I did a version of this as well, and I got lazy. That last cow, if you end up doing like 3 half pulls, it's more than a second. It's 2, 3, 4 seconds. And there are a couple guys on the far end on the left side of the screen. You can't really see them now. But
yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Where it was half, is it there, then puts it back in. That's just wasted time.
Finishing the pull, making sure you get to the calories as quickly as possible. Another thing, too, that he did well the first couple rounds, we'll see how as he goes on, but I think transitioning back to the rower and then being aggressive on the first couple of pulls, not a sprint, but getting to that working pace quickly matters a lot in a workout like this, because even though maybe you average 13 cows or 1,300 cows per hour, if you start out at 800 or 900, you're losing a lot of time against the field.
Because right there, I think it was 5 pulls before he's actually there. If you can get that in 3 or 2 pulls, that makes up a lot of difference. But I think that's something to kind of play with on how your transition is.
I like to look at it as 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you can count the pulls, but sometimes I like doing like the quick drive with my legs, especially if it's a workout where my arms are tired, which they would get that way in this workout. So I just try to hold myself to 5 seconds.
I like that.
Same concept.
How many pulls does it normally take you, Mia? So like a high-level female athlete.
I think usually 4, but
pulls.
a couple of those are like the baby ones to
Right.
get it going.
Yeah, I think most larger males are 3 pulls. Like Travis would be 3 pulls, but 5 seconds is a really good.
I mean, I think one. I just pull on it one time and I'm already
Travis
there.
flies off the back
Just
of the
I
rower.
actually just pull.
So Chris is still doing a really good job getting off the rower, and we already talked about transitions, but instead of standing up or unstrapping like Mia gave the point of performance earlier.
Yeah, sorry, I called him out and he never did it again.
No,
sorry,
that's,
Chris.
I see people do that all the time, and in video, like the Wadapalooza qualifiers, I've seen people do that. It's like you're losing time.
Poke here. So he puts both his feet in and then puts his hands on the handle. I think the first thing that you should do is pick up the handle as you're putting one foot in, and you can almost take like a partial pull as you're putting your other foot in, and that helps.
Makes up a lot of time.
Bit.
For sure.
Yeah, if there is no rule against that, then
you
make
can
sure
see
you do it.
Spence. He just did it in the background. Foot wasn't all the way
Nice,
in. Grabbed
Spence.
But you did also just see when he did finish the round before that, he had like 3 baby pulls before he finished it. But hey, his transition was good.
It's funny we're giving all the points of performance, but in a workout like this where there's really like there's no bottleneck. Everyone has to go fast. It's really hard to do all those things well, especially when you start breathing hard and your heart rate's high. So I think controlling it at the beginning of the workout, like Chris talked about, I'm going to start a little bit slower and then pick up. The problem with that is most people start slow and then they never can pick up because they already are burnt out by round 5 or 6.
Yeah, the amount of times in workouts I've done that is too many. I mean, I think you're better off just going at a more aggressive pace and then just kind of settling in. There's been times, even if it's a run workout, you'll be like, oh, I'll catch him here, and then everybody just kind of maintains the same pace, and then it's just at that point too late to try to even catch up, where he probably could have started, I think, at 1,400 or so, settled in there, and then kind of just hung on. Like 12 minutes isn't that long, but it can still put you in a deep hole if you go like 1,800 out of the gate.
Yeah, I remember the was it 19.1, the row wall ball workout where the elite elites were like sprint the first 2 rounds, and that was the only way to separate it, is you had to go hot and then settle in.
Well, you never can get back to that pace. Like if you start a workout slow and then try to pick it back up, you're never going to get to your hot pace. Like it's going to feel hot, but it's probably 100 or 200 calories less than what you normally would be able to do. So it does make sense to go out hot. The problem though is that most people go out too hot and then they blow up in their red line 2 minutes in.
Yeah, so instead of knowing where that threshold is of stopping at like, okay, I've now done a round and a half, now I'm going to throttle back down. It's like, no, let's keep going until we just spill over.
Right, yeah, you definitely have to be thoughtful of that. One thing I like this one he actually is getting a little bit higher, but he's been doing a good job of staying low on his burpees. Yeah. It's hard because I understand for most people it's hard to breathe when they keep that kind of hinged position, but the lower you stay to the ground, the faster the burpee's going to be. It's easier to get back up over the I was going to say barbell, but rower, and then obviously easier to get to the ground as well.
So he's obviously jumping his feet up the whole time, and that doesn't seem to be too taxing for him. But for some people, that's not realistic. Or if they did that, it would make their row slow down, which I don't think is worth it.
Yeah.
What kind of footwork would you recommend?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of having the step-up technique where you alternate legs. If you're on,
Spencer looks like he's doing.
Yeah,
he's alternating.
In the blue shorts behind Chris, you can see that he's alternating his legs. I really like having that footwork, just like you would do with a bar-facing burpee, but obviously now you're jumping laterally. It depends on how the person bounds, whether it should be the outside leg that steps up or the inside leg. I've had athletes that prefer one or the other. You just got to play with that. I like the outside leg. Some people love the inside leg. And that's, again, something that you practice when you're warming up, and then you just pick whichever one you want to do.
Something I've learned from doing burpees laterally over a worm, which is what this kind of burpee reminds me of, is you don't actually have to jump your feet or step your feet up as high as you do for when you're facing something. So that's something that you can play around with. You could scoot further forward, I believe, in the standard, and have your face in front of the rower, and then have a smaller step up, and so you don't have to clear the seat. And that's just less hinging as you're doing your burpees.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Trav, do you have a damper setting you recommend for something like this?
Yeah, for me, I always try to keep mine between 5 and 7 for everything I do, whether that's a 2K, 5K. I usually, even when we sprint, maybe 7, 8, but I never go up towards a 10. It just way too much effort to make that up, where I think I just kind of settle in at a comfortable pace, right? Pretty much probably where he's at right now. But then to go off of the burpee standard, I think you should also play with knowing how to do both of them. I think so many people rely on just jumping up, and then when they jump up, they still try to jump up when they're fatigued and don't know how to keep moving. Where if it's I need to go 5 rounds where I am jumping to maintain that faster cadence, and then when I'm fatigued, work on the step up. But something to practice as you warm up. and getting used to, because I know me and Brandon have worked a lot on that early on, was with the bar facing burpee of figuring out that right technique. But it's super important, I feel like, to rely on. Same way if I have butterfly pull-ups, I need to know how to go to a traditional kip if I fails.
Yeah.
Same kind of concept on the burpee.
Yeah, I think elite level athletes will probably jump up the entire time because that's
it's not enough burpees.
Yeah, it's not as fatiguing. But for most of us, like most of our audience, that's maybe only going to get 7 or 8 rounds in this instead of 11 rounds, like some guys are getting. I think you have to learn how to kind of pace the burpee so that you can still go fast in the row, as Mia talked about. The transition, I think, to the row is like where I would nitpick. Mia already talked about this, but every single round now he's got his feet in, and then he makes sure he's kind of wiggling his butt on the seat and then grabbing the row handles. And Chris does a great job. This is just me nitpicking Chris. I would say that he needs to grab the handle, like Mia said, and start pulling right away. Even if it's a half a second a round, he does 10 rounds. That could be another count or 2, which in the open is hundreds of places.
Yeah, I mean, if you were looking at this workout as a qualifier that he were redoing, he's holding a pretty consistent pace on the rower, and his burpees are staying the same speed. So his pacing is obviously good for his fitness level. So where would he be able to improve? It's those transitions.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, transitions, the little half pulls. He's had a couple rounds where it is that like final half pull. But I think those would be the big things of literally like just sit in and you got to get but you just have to be mindful of that. Because I think so many times in the workout, you're not thinking of that and you're like, oh, I'm still moving pretty quick. And I remember sometimes it's good to go back and watch these because then you become aware of it, right? Like sit, 1, 2, 3. So
this will be
almost 4 seconds that he just kind of missed right there.
This will be interesting clock awareness-wise because he still has over a minute left, which is a good amount of time, but this is his last time on the rower, so is he sprinting? I can't tell. He is.
Yeah,
good job, Chris.
He did pick it up. And part of that is I was over in the corner telling everyone where they're at. At 90 seconds is when I said, okay, 90 seconds, start thinking about your pace. And then I said it again at 60 seconds. And at 30 seconds, I basically said everyone needs to sprint. This is our on-site group. We have a lot of high-level athletes that are in here, and I want them to be aware of that. I keep going back to the open. The same thing for quarterfinals or even a semifinal workout. When you know if there is an AMRAP setting like this, where there's only 30 or 40 seconds left, you have to learn how to kick because that's all the difference in going from 100th place to 50th place or from 10th place to 6th place.
Yeah, with this amount of time left, with still 30
Did
seconds,
Perrin
like
just
you can get
invalidate his workout by holding his seat back?
She's been doing that every time.
Perrin.
Yeah, you have to be careful. That's actually an important note. I saw a couple people trip on the seat. You have to make sure it's all the way back.
Even into the open, right? People were moving double or the jump rope handles so that when they finished a workout, like it was right there. And I know people's scores that got invalidated because of that, of having assistance where you're not supposed to have that. Oh, good kick there.
Yeah, this is awesome. So he got back on with like 12 seconds left, and he's over 2,000. That's a really good kick.
Good job, Chris.
That's what we were looking for.
Way to go.
Don't look at the clock. I kept looking at it during the workout. Don't do that. I wanted to cry every time I looked at it.
My rower shit out at 6 rounds in.
But you kept going.
I kept going.
You're a champ.
Thanks.
Basically, I just adjusted my rowing pace so my burpees didn't fall off hard. Like my second to last round, I was holding high 9s, low 1000s. That one got hard.
I would have ate a little bit earlier. It's kind of like when you drink too much, you're like, I wish I could just go ahead and vomit to get it over with. So if I could have threw up like 2 minutes earlier, then I would have been a little faster.
Trap. It's a trap.
Which part?
Starting mainly. I beat Gabby. 11 reps.
He said 2
Get it.
I'll get him next week. But I think I started sprinting at a 10-minute mark, and I should have started sprinting a little bit earlier.
Perrin said I probably wouldn't be able to hold 1,000 the whole time, so I kind of wanted to prove her wrong. So I really didn't let my rower drop below 1,000, and I think I went pretty fast on the burpees.
Did you prove Perrin wrong?
Kind of.
I told you not to.
You said you think I would.
Oh, and you didn't.
And
Yeah,
I
she proved me
didn't.
wrong. Reverse psychology.
Let's give you some targets and some helpful tips so that you can crush this workout. Let's start with the targets. If you're an intermediate level athlete and you're still working on your engine, maybe not great at burpees or rowing, we would say 6+ rounds should be your target. That's every 2 minutes you're doing 1 full round. For RX level athletes, we expect you to get at least 8 rounds. And in fact, most of our RX level athletes that are in our program will likely be 9-ish or more because they have pretty good engines. Our elite level athletes, and we just saw Chris crush this, would be 10+ rounds. For high level athletes,
athletes, those that maybe are games or high-level semifinal athletes, you'll probably get over 11 rounds. And then a couple execution tips. The first one is get to your working pace quickly on the row erg. Mia said 5 seconds. I'd say 3 to 5 total pulls. You should be at your working pace, whatever that is, so that you can start getting calories right away. The next one, quick transitions onto and off of the rower. Chris did a great job in our demo. Make sure that you're getting your feet in and pulling right away when you're getting on the row, and then make sure that you're flipping off the seat onto your chest right away so you're not wasting any time on those transitions. The next one is stay low on your burpees. If you can breathe in that hinge pattern, make sure that you're staying low, barely jumping over the row erg and getting down to the ground as quickly as possible. And then the last one is if you need to pace your burpees, use quality footwork and do the same footwork every single rep so that you can keep your burpees the same every single round. Go crush the workout. Basically, you're the rower. You're the rower.
It's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Project Pata in this thing, man. Hey, look, man, thank y'all for watching Training Think Tank's YouTube channel. Y'all hit that motherfucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? So y'all go ahead, man. Thank y'all for watching the channel, you know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button. Let it be known, what it be known, what it be known, you know what I'm saying? Pata.